Okay, this time I'll be doing the spoiler tag. The creator of the tag is Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. I will link their channel down in my description. And for some reason, I did not add to my paper who tagged me, and I don't recall who did. So I'll try to find out who tagged me and then add their channel also down in my description. The first prompt is, what do you consider a spoiler? Well, I consider revealing the ending or revealing any of the twists along the way spoilers. However, I do prefer to go into a book knowing as little as possible about it. I will frequently not read an entire synopsis. I will frequently read just like a few sentences from the synopsis and decide whether or not I think I want to read it from there. Or I will get a book based on the recommendation of a friend or a booktuber who has similar tastes to me. Without reading the synopsis at all. Now that usually works out just fine. It works out wonderfully for me, but sometimes I wish I had read the synopsis first. So the next prompt is, does the genre you're reading impact what you consider to be a spoiler? Yes, I would definitely say thrillers and horrors I want to go into absolutely, definitely want as blind as possible. Of course, I don't always go in as blind as possible on the other genres that I read, but horror and thriller definitely. I'm disappointed if I know more than just the main premise of the book before reading it. All the best bits are in the trailer. Sometimes the synopsis can be too detailed. Do you research books prior to reading them, or do you go in blind? I do not watch movie trailers, period, ever. The problem is that I have been spoiled on movies too many times because nowadays the trailers just have way too much information about them. And then, like I said earlier, I often don't read more than a couple sentences from a synopsis. And a lot of times, if it's a classic, I won't read the synopsis at all because most classics I already know the premise of them because they have been talked about so much. Sometimes the introduction or translator notes can spoil the ending, especially for classics. Has this ever happened to you? Not that I can think of. Oh, actually, yes, that has happened to me. I will occasionally read classics, the harder to understand classics, and I will get a copy that has been annotated, and it'll have the annotations alongside the text of the book or play or whatever it is I'm reading. And I have before gotten ahead of myself, like read too far down into the notes, into the annotations, without finishing the page first, and have spoiled things that way. So that's not a book's fault. That's my fault. Let's see. Name a time somebody spoiled a novel for you. I actually cannot think of an example for this because if a book is spoiled for me, then I just won't read it. I can think of a book that had been spoiled that they were going to read for Rachel's book club over at the Shades of Orange. And, oh, I know what it was. It was Shutter Island. That's what it was. And yes, somebody had talked about that book to me and told me what happened in the end, and I had never read the book. I wasn't that upset about it at the time because I wasn't really interested in reading it. But when it came up for Rachel's book club, I was like, oh gosh, you know what? I can't read this. I already know the ending, so I'm not going to want to read it. So, have you ever spoiled a novel for somebody else? Probably, but I can't recall any specific incident of that, but that has probably happened. I would imagine it has. Sometimes I start talking about a book and I get carried away talking about it. If spoilers ruin a novel, are there some authors or genres you can't read? I'm not sure what this question means exactly, but generally, if a book's spoiled for me, then I don't read it. Of course, that does depend on the genre. If a horror or thriller has been spoiled, I'm not going to read that. If it's literary fiction or science fiction or, drama or something like that, then I generally don't care, and I'll still read the book just because I'm interested in the story itself anyway. So, when reviewing, are you spoiler free? Yes, I am. I'm always spoiler free. I can't even think about a book that I have talked about in a discussion video. I often want to talk about it a lot more and get really specific about things and try to have like kind of a discussion, about it with other booktubers who have read it or other people watching my videos who have read it and would like to comment on that. However, I just haven't got to that yet, but I do plan to. Let's see, shout outs. Tell us about 5 channels you enjoy and then tag them. But I'm not going to tag anybody because this tag has already made the rounds, and I think most of the booktubers that I watch and have already done this tag. However, if you haven't and you want to, by all means consider yourself tagged. I would like to see it.